Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning everyone, and pay attention to this. Under ambitious plans to capitalize on the Pak-Chin Dosti, it seems that lessons in the Mandarin language could become compulsory for school children in Pakistan. Yes, you heard me right. In fact, a pilot project will be launched later this year in Sindh with plans to make Mandarin compulsory in schools from class 6th onwards. Let me also tell you that although Mandarin is considered to be one of the world's most difficult languages, Pakistan is not alone to take it up as China's economic growth transforms world trade. Earlier this year, Swedish officials announced that all primary schools would offer classes in Chinese within 10 years. Now, since there's no hiding from what inevitably might happen, let me point out that Mandarin is the world's most widely spoken tongue, with 840 million people worldwide being native Mandarin speakers in comparison to only 340 million native English speakers. Now, that's a huge difference. I think I'm sold already. Not that I'm going to pick it up. I don't know. I think French would be my first preference still. I don't know why. You're watching The Morning Show with Huma Amir Shah. Let's take a quick look at newspaper headlines first. The Express Tribune highlights former Afghan President Burhanuddin Rabbani was assassinated in his home in Kabul by a Taliban insurgent who set off explosives concealed in his turban, dealing a body blow to Kabul's reconciliation process with the Taliban. Dawn highlights a local anti-terrorism court convicting 22 people, 9 policemen among them, in a case relating to the lynching of 2 brothers in Sialkot. We have more details on that later in the show. And Daily Times highlights at least 26 Shia pilgrims being killed and 6 others sustaining injuries in Ganji Dori area of Mastung when a group of armed men attacked a passenger bus carrying Shia pilgrims from Quetta to Iran. Okay, so this is what is happening in our local newspapers. First page, front page. International newspapers now, and the New York Times highlights Al Jazeera News Network naming a member of the Qatari royal family to replace its top news director after disclosures from WikiLeaks indicated that the news director had modified the network's coverage of the Iraq war in response to pressure from the US. UK's Guardian highlights the International Monetary Fund having cut its growth forecast for Britain for the 3rd time in 9 months and warning George Osborne that further underperformance would warrant a policy U-turn. And finally, UAE's Khalij Times highlights Yemen's capital being mostly calm yesterday after a ceasefire negotiated by the country's vice president and several Western ambassadors took effect. Okay, so you know what the headlines are in Pakistan and around the world. Let's move on with our images for the day, and I have personally picked them this time round. Some really interesting ones as well, especially the first one. You'll see the symbolism in it. Operation Cleanup. Let's start. There you have it, Operation Cleanup, and these are brooms. They'll come into view. They are set in the sand during a protest against corruption. That would be in Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro, and this protest, the members used 594 brooms on the beach, and the idea was to clean up corruption from the government. Rock and roll there. The girls are going to love this one. This is the 14th largest white diamond ever to be recovered. You can see it on the right side, and this is being exhibited right now at an exhibition. This is called the Letsang Star, and it is next to a yellow diamond. The tipping point there, I am amazed. These days we are showing you pictures of elderly people in really interesting exercising positions. This is a woman balancing a traditional Chinese pole weapon on her head. The big art there, I thought this was very cute, this picture. This is Karishma, a 13-year-old female Asian elephant painting at an easel. This would be in a zoo in England. And by the way, her artwork will be put on display this weekend. Drill there, and people stand at the emergency stairs in an office building during a mock earthquake drill in Mexico City. And just so you know, Mexico City marks 26 years since an 8.1 earthquake shook the capital, killing thousands of people. Extensions there. I liked this picture because, you know, I was wondering who would wear it off the runway. I don't know what you feel about this. It's a model displaying an outfit by a Spanish designer during the Cibeles Madrid Fashion Week. We don't see the outfit, but the headgear is quite interesting. And light my way, the circuit for the upcoming Formula 1 Singapore Grand Prix night race is illuminated. So this is how it will look like. And last but not the least, I'm all ears. I like this picture because the iPhone is coming out with a wacky range of iPhone cases, and they are help to disguise the fact that you are chatting on your mobile. I think that would be very interesting for Pakistan. You know, we have a big fine these days, at least in Lahore, if you're caught talking on the phone while driving. In fact, you know, this is not good. I just realized that it is very dangerous to actually pick up the phone, your mobile, and be talking while you are driving. This kind of multitasking is not good because it is major distraction. So hands-free all the way, please. Okay, history lesson for you guys, and today is the 21st of September, and we have a kind of a longish history lesson, but there were so many interesting people. We did not want to miss out on anyone. So quickly, let's start. Now today marks the birthday of Charles Martin Chuck Jones, an American animator, cartoon artist and director of animated films, most memorably of Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies shorts. And Jones helped bring to life many famous characters like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Roadrunner, Michigan J. Frog and many others. And in a career spanning over 60 years, Jones made more than 300 animated films, winning 3 Oscars as director, and in 1996 an honorary Oscar for lifetime achievement. So Mr. Jones has made many people very happy. And born this day in 1926 was legendary singer and actress in British India and Pakistan, of course, Noor Jahan. Noor Jahan's career spanned 7 decades. She was renowned as one of the greatest and most influential singers of her time and was given the honorific title of Malka-e-Tarannum, or the Queen of Melody. And she holds a remarkable record of 10,000 songs to her singing credits. Along with Ahmed Rushdie, she holds the highest record of film songs in the history of Pakistani cinema. And I absolutely love this song. Today also marks the birthday of Canadian singer, songwriter, musician and novelist Leonard Norman Cohen. And Cohen's work often explores religion, isolation and interpersonal relationships. Famously reclusive, having once spent several years in a Zen Buddhist monastery and possessing a persona frequently associated with mystique, he is extremely well regarded by critics for his literary accomplishments, for the richness of his lyrics and the quality of his voice. Listen to him.
Where the night is strong, oh, they don't let woman.
Power of song, beautiful song. Also born this day in 1947 was American author of contemporary horror, suspense, science fiction and fantasy fiction, Stephen Edwin King. King's books have sold more than 350 million copies, many being adapted into feature films, television movies and comic books as well. Now, as of 2011, King has written and published 49 novels, 5 non-fiction books and 9 collections of short stories. Today also marks the birthday of American actor and comedian William James Bill Murray. Murray first gained national exposure on Saturday Night Live, in which he earned an Emmy Award and later went on to star in a number of critically and commercially successful comedic films, including Caddyshack, Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day. Murray gained additional critical acclaim later in his career, starring in Lost in Translation, for which he was nominated for an Academy Award. Lots of birthdays today. Also born this day in 1967 was American country singer Faith Hill. Hill has sold more than 40 million records worldwide and accumulated 8 #1 singles and 3 #1 albums on the US country charts. And Hill has been honored by the Grammy Awards, the Academy of Country Music, the Country Music Association, the American Music Awards and the People's Choice Awards. Wow. Now, in 2001, she was named one of the 30 most powerful women in America by Ladies' Home Journal. Lots of musicians being born today. 21st September seems to be a lucky day for musicians, singers. I like this one. Today also marks the birthday of American film actor Luke Cunningham Wilson, known for his roles in Old School, Bottle Rocket, Legally Blonde, The Royal Tenenbaums and Death at a Funeral. Yeah, check out that name. Now, though Wilson mainly did comedy, he has also given some memorable performances in thrillers such as Bad Seed and Soul Survivors. And I could name another movie that I really liked recently. Don't remember. Anyway, also finally born this day in 1988 was the current chairman of the Pakistan People's Party, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Bilawal is the only son of President Asif Zardari and former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. And after the assassination of Benazir Bhutto, Benazir's political will declared Asif Zardari as Benazir's successor for party leadership. However, Bilawal became chairman of the Pakistan People's Party because Zardari favoured Bilawal to represent Bhutto's legacy. Now, President Zardari also announced Bilawal's name change from Bilawal Zardari to Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Quite a long history lesson, and trust me, I had to cut some people out of it because we could have gone on for a while with that one. Let me give you a couple of stories. Now, we spoke about this in the headlines just a while back. An anti-terrorism court in Gujranwala yesterday announced its verdict in the famous Sialkot lynching case and awarded death penalty to each of the 7 convicts on 4 counts of murder. Now, former district police officer of Sialkot and 9 other police officials accused in the case have been sentenced to 3 years in prison. The court has also acquitted 5 of the accused. The case revolves around the brutal lynching of 2 brothers in Sialkot by a mob on August 15th last year, and at least 28 people were nominated as accused in the case, including 10 policemen and 11 civilians. And the policemen were accused of being guilty of negligence as they failed to stop the mob from lynching the brothers, Mughis and Munib. The boys were killed by the mob after being accused of robbing the locals and shooting 1 man. Now, Libyan rebels are on a roll. Another victory for the National Transition Council, as the African Union has recognized them as the country's de facto government. Now, the AU said that it was ready to help the NTC in its efforts to build an inclusive government. And the news came as US President Barack Obama said his ambassador was on his way to Tripoli to reopen the American embassy there. Obama made the announcement after meeting with NTC Chairman Mustafa Abdul Jalil in New York. And interestingly, deposed leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi still cannot bring himself to give it all up. In a recorded audio message, he warned opponents that NATO protection could not last indefinitely, which, you ask me, is true. So let's wait and see what the Colonel has up his sleeve. I hope nothing brutal. Now, it's intervention time in the Middle East. Israel is coming under mounting international pressure to limit the scale of its threatened retaliation to a Palestinian statehood bid amid warnings of a looming explosion of violence in the region. Now, US and European diplomats have found themselves scrambling to find a compromise solution that would recognize Palestinian aspirations